New moon in Taurus. What is Taurus? Actually, what is a new moon? A new moon is who you are personally. That's your persona right there. That's your moon sign right there. Forget about the sun sign. Of course, whatever you hold in gets pushed out, whether it's good energy or bad energy. So whatever you hold in is what you're basically expressing to us. And we all have different modalities. We all have different personalities. So when it comes to this new moon in Taurus, this is finding a new way to be stabilized, fixated, and of course, practical, down to earth. And Taurus, what is Taurus? Taurus is the earth, Gaia. So of course, green represents growth. That's earth right there. Blue represents communication, intellect. You need to communicate. You need to utilize intellect to get your point across all around the world. That's how we connect. Also, brown represents being stable, being practical. And of course, that's what Taurus is all about. You know, Taurus love their bag. They love desires. They love to get into their bag. They love to express themselves in a more stable way. They take their time. So, of course, fixated, something that's fixated, it means it has to be fixated in one way of doing things to get from point A to point B. See, now, Taurus can't be mutable because being mutable means you go here, you go there, you go there. Taurus want to be fixated. They want to make sure that shit get built and taken care of properly before they can move on to the next mission. See, Cardinal is creating new ways on how to do things. We can't create a new way on how to do things if we still stuck on one tool or one thing to do things. Of course, we got to make sure we get this shit situated and have it stabilized, have it practicalized, make sure it's making sense. And of course, we want to keep doing this every day. Just like how they utilizing this little fake weak ass vaccine on y'all, they fixated in that way of doing that shit. So of course, when it comes to you being fixated, and of course, doing things in one way, and of course, being predetermined on that goal on a day-to-day basis, then of course, you put yourself in a position, a circumstance, a situation to be practical. And of course, attain your goal. And of course, it be very difficult because we be having a whole lot of shit going on. That's why we got us Tauruses. That's why we got us Scorpios. That's why we got us Aquariuses, and that's why we got Leos. Because Leo, they got to be fixated in their fire. Of course, they got to make sure the fire is being fixated in order for the fire to keep fucking blazing. Scorpio want to be fixated in their feelings and emotions because they need this feeling and emotion to basically make sure it's more heavier. So when it's more heavier, they get to accumulate it, whether it's good or bad. See, Aquarius, they like to be fixated in their own ways of being unique and original. For me, they don't really like change, even though they can change. But of course, they like to be fixated in their ways of being humanitarian, saving the world and shit, being unique and original. And of course, we got fixated Taurus, aka being fixated on that bag, fixated on structure, fixated on time. And of course, time is money. So when we got new moon in Taurus, you need to find out where you have your second house at. You may have your second house in your planets too. This can also be used as a barricade to basically help you to get from point A to point B. Some of you got stelliums in your second house too, aka you brought too much from the past life in your previous life into this life, into the here and now, the current. So of course, when the second house, what is second house? Second house is representing things that we value, second person, second command, something that we have to offer, whether it's a gift or a talent or a trait or something that we're good at. For me, it could be basketball, it could be times tables, it could be teaching, it could be a doctor, it could be anything. Wherever you have your second house at, you need to take your reactions and you need to respond with this in a fixated way. Act out in the modalities of the moon. See, now the moon is in Taurus. The moon loves being in Taurus. So this is a powerful time to plant a big seed, a big imagination. And of course, you're supposed to be fixated in this feeling, fixated in this emotion, fixated in this imagination on a day-to-day basis. Because when you're being fixated on it and you're being stubborn on it, aka we in Taurus season. It's time to be stubborn, even though we got Uranus in Taurus, which Uranus falls in Taurus, so our uniqueness, our originality can be very hard as far as what we attain to get. We could be going through a whole lot of changes, a whole lot of unexpected changes, a whole lot of unexpectedness, feel me? But of course, the universe and God need to be seeing your ass strong. They want to see that you can be able to handle the shit, so they can put the shit in front of you. They can't put shit in front of you if you got a lot going on. You got too much shit in your possession. You need to learn how to release some of this shit. Learn how to let this shit go. Learn how to utilize your wings and fly and get up above this shit. Get above the firmament. Don't stay stuck into the firmament. Yeah, we got to do what we got to do under the firmament. But learn how to expand. Go above your horizon. Do something new. Because, of course, we got Venus and Gemini and Mercury. So, of course, we got a whole lot of energy. So, it's really no excuse. Because when Mercury was in Taurus, it was kind of fixated with the way we was thinking and shit. It was kind of hard to basically switch things up. Because the way we think and utilize our mind, it was in this fixated, stubborn way. So, some people have different ways of thinking. Some people have different ways of loving. So, it can be ups and downs. But as long as you know how to be mutable and adaptable, you'll be aight. Now, let's get into these energies. Let's get into these vibes. If you have the second house, and look, if you have the second house, I'm bugging. If you have Taurus in the first house, you need to be fixated. You need to be practical when it comes to your personality. Value your personality. Value it. Whatever you have, a personal affair, a personal place, a personal endeavor, value that shit. Express it. Put it out there. Stay fixated on it for 2 days, because this is the new moon phase. When you have second house when you have Taurus in the second house, it's home here. So that means you get to do whatever the fuck you want to do, but of course you still gotta have restrictions. And of course, you still in charge of what you value. And of course, you try not to overindulge into things. Whether you value a person, place, or a thing, or a trait, you need to value this, be fixated in this, and be practical and stubborn and stabilized in this. And of course, whatever you value or have to offer, love it, share it, express it. And of course, you're going to be growing that seed to accumulate it. Also, if you have the second house, aka Taurus, in your third house, you need to value your surroundings. People, places, and things, and familiar places and faces in your surroundings. Broadcasters, plant the seed here. Have a good feeling, have a good emotion on how you feel about expressing and valuing this trait of this area or this location. And of course, it has to be something that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. Something that you're familiar with, whether it's school, or work in your environment, or anything of that matter. But of course, make sure you value your surroundings and plant that seed. How you want to be situated in that position. Second house in the fourth house. Value your home. Value your family. Value loving. Value nurturing. Value caring. See, if you got the second house here, plant seed. Like if you want to work from home and shit, and you scared of this little COVID shit, plant a seed in this position right here. This can actually get you from point A to point B to accumulate what you want to manifest. Whether you want to open up a business from home, whether you want to have a salon in your house, take the energy, express it, plant that seed, feel me? And be fixated on it, be stubborn on it. Put in that energy, put in that time, put in that work. Also, when you got the second house and the fifth house, value your expression, value yourself, put yourself out there. Value your talent, your gift, your trade. Value your passions. Whatever you have to value or whatever you have to express and value into the world, you will utilize this fifth house and you will actually put this down into perspective. Be stabilized on it. Be practical on it. And of course, practice makes perfect. You got to have earth. Always know that. You can't just be doing shit if you ain't got a practical perspective in it. You'll be all over the place. Now, if you got the second house and the sixth house, you're going to be valuing your work, valuing your routine, your scheduling, whatever you're good at as far as being a work, being a service, or being kind and generous to people, places, and things at work, or if you want to sell things at work, or if you just want to work and put yourself out there. And of course, Be there. Be very kind and loving and caring towards helping people. Go for it. Dealing with health or anything of that matter. Go for it. This is where you're going to plant that seed. If you got the 2nd house and the 7th house, you're going to be valuing your relationships. Valuing someone that you can relate to on a day-to-day basis. Your partnerships. Make a YouTube channel. Plant that seed. Work together. Teamwork make the motherfucking dream work. So if you are out here valuing that, if you want to put that into play, put that into perspective, this is the time to utilize these energies and be fixated and practical on it and plant that seed. AKA, make sure you have your partner to plant that seed. Teamwork make the dream work. Remember, your shit is in the 7th house. Or if you value relating yourself to someone over relating yourself to the world, go ahead. Do that. Plant that seed. And of course, do this by communicating. 2nd house in the 8th house. Now, if you have Taurus in the 8th house, you need to value your desires, value your willpower, your intent, things that's behind the scenes. So, of course, whatever you valuing, make sure you stay down till you come up. AKA, go within yourself. Find out your moon sign. Find out where you find comfortability at. And of course, plant that seed. And of course, be practical, be stabilized on it. It may be very hard, but try not to get lost into other desires and shit. Be fixated too. Don't be all over the place. If you got the 2nd house and the 9th house, value being a guru or spiritual guru, a teacher, or someone that you can basically express to the world and shit. Get your videos out there. Expand, travel. If you want to be a tourist and shit, this is the time to basically travel the world and expand and shit. Plant that seed there. And you'll be in your energies by expressing yourself. And of course, you have to be in your modality. So, like, value that seed by being a teacher, by being someone that's out there, occult, mysticism, astrology, or anything that matters. That's dealing with the behind the scenes realm. If you got the 2nd house and the 10th house, you need to value your status, value your career, broadcast that shit. Keep making videos, even if it's the stupidest video, the funniest video, the craziest video, a serious video. Value that shit, because you never know which video is gonna basically make you pop off one day. So yeah, value your status, whatever you have, whatever you're into, put that shit out there. Whatever you do, whatever you're good at, put it out there, and you're gonna basically accumulate all the fruits and labors in your perspective. Make sure you're being fixated, practical, and stable when it comes to playing that seed. AKA, you have to clear your mind, clear your space, do the inner work, do the energy work, and of course, plant that seed. When it comes to the 2nd house and the 11th house, get your ass outside. You're going to be valuing your association, valuing your groups. If you have a gang, or if you have someone or a group or leadership or cult or whatever you do with your association or how you associate yourself, you need to basically value your association or value the way you associate yourself with people, places, and things all around the world. Feel me? It may be ups and downs here, but of course, the better you can value your associations on a day-to-day basis, the better you can accumulate whatever you want to manifest into your life. And of course, this is you planting the seed by relating with your associates or your association or unknown people and shit. Just get your ass out there and plant that seed. And last but not least, when it comes to the Taurus and Pisces, so you're going to go to the extremes. You're going to overindulge with this position right here. Because actually, Taurus is exalted in Neptune and Jupiter. So off the bat, you're going to be overindulgent. But of course, this is a good time to plant that seed, because you're going to be overindulgent and fixated in a more practical way when it comes to your dreams, your illusions, your fantasies. Make sure you plant that seed there. So of course, AKA, get into your desires of your illusions, your imagination, your creativity, your fantasies, your dream like matters. Plant that seed there. Stay fixated, stay practical. Feel me? Yeah, you can dream it, but of course you got to have an earth perspective with it. AKA, more dreamy like, more taste, more fantasies. Find like ways where you can like desire whatever you want to manifest. Whatever, if you got the 2nd house and the 12th house, value your dreams, your illusions, your fantasies. Be in that energy. And of course, separate from the world too. AKA, don't be around everybody. And of course, with the water houses, sometimes it's good to separate. And yeah, that's the new moon in all zodiac signs for the houses. But yeah, plant that seed. Plant good seeds. Don't plant bad seeds. Yeah, we got it.